that is live. Okay, so it's live. So go to your pages and share it if you can, please. That was a quick 30 seconds.
Yeah.
That was a quick 30 seconds. And I'm still up here tagging people. So yeah. So let me go. Okay. All right, well. Okay. I like to look through my on my phone so I can see, read the comments and everything. And on y'all side, like on Facebook, you'll start to see it. What you call it? It does the live captions on that too.
Hopefully
Yeah.
Hopefully my phone don't die. I'm gonna watch it from my phone.
Oh snap! Well, and you don't have to watch it from your phone unless you just want to kind of like see yourself back while on the phone, kind of thing. Yeah. Hello. I see somebody join. Some people join. Welcome. I see 4 people join. Let me go here in the comment section. 5 people. All right, we're going up. Y'all say hello back to us. What it do? What's going on, Brandon? Let's see who else can I see. Y'all share it, y'all like it, y'all love it, all the good things. Oh, now what she doing?
Oh, what I do?
She put up her charger.
Oh, sorry.
You good? I think when you did that though, it kind of made your background a little fuzzy. But you good? Yeah, you good now. You good now? Sorry for the delay, y'all. Welcome to another episode of Checking In with Pam LLC. I need to put the music in there. I'll go back and edit it and add it. I got a little theme song, y'all, that I did. Yes, look. Checking in with Pam LLC.
Okay.
A little gravel, not too much dancing. What's going on, cousin Nikki? Yes, share it, cousin. Share it. Don't just you share it, cousin. All right. So without further ado, we can go ahead and get started. So again, welcome to another episode of Checking In with Pam LLC. I have some special guests with us tonight. But before I introduce the special guests, I wanted to kind of, for those that are new to the channel, new to the page, I definitely want to give you guys an idea of what Checking In with Pam LLC is. And Checking In with Pam LLC is in fact a podcast where we talk about mental health, but we also talk about everyday life. More specifically, Black and Brown mental health, because I feel like a lot of time we don't give enough focus to, Black and Brown mental health. And so I wanted to kind of give a idea of what that was. And the show within itself with the name Pam LLC was inspired by my late mom, who passed away in 2020. And so that's what the show has been kind of created and stemmed by. But yes, so without further ado, I do have some familiar faces to some, new faces to some, but most importantly, they are my blood. And so I definitely want to take this opportunity to introduce them. And I'm going to go based on their chronological age. I'm not I'm not gonna tell you age. I'm not gonna tell you age. But I'm going to go with the older sister. So Asia, I'm gonna turn it over to you. Can you tell us a little bit about, what you do? You don't have to go too far into any details or anything, but what you do, and how are we cousins?
My name is Asia. I am a pre-K teacher in the Raleigh area. I'm currently in school to obtain my bachelor's to continue my education. Hopefully soon I will be starting a journal
Okay.
for teenagers, and I'm hoping to start a program for children with incarcerated parents.
Nice. Okay. Snap,
Y'all
snap,
didn't
snap.
know that. Y'all didn't know that.
Yeah. Y'all didn't know that. See, we got a lot coming to you. All right, little sister Candace.
My name is Candice. I recently graduated with my associates in occupational therapy assistant. Starting a new job next month, my first full time big girl job after graduation. um, yeah, I previously worked in mental health. Um, Specifically, I work with the autism population a lot. I just bounced around, doing my little thing. So that's it.
Can I ask
Absolutely.
her,
That's for you.
Huh?
Candace, why would you not say you have 2 degrees, baby? Not just
Oh,
one.
excuse me. I'm also an alumna of East Carolina University with my
Okay.
bachelor's
What's
in
the sign? What's the sign?
go first. Go first.
Okay.
Yeah,
Snap,
two
snap,
degrees.
snap. Yes. Educated. Come on. Absolutely. So these are my younger cousins on my mom's side. So these are my grandmother's great nieces. I think it's two greats in there, so great nieces. So yeah, so just to kind of give you guys a backstory. So I met the older sister as adults because I knew who they were as when we were kids, but we grew up, moved in different areas, so we kind of lost a little bit of connection. So it was roughly 2017, 2018. I
Mhm.
saw Asia um, in Greensboro in the mall because that's where I love to be at in the mall. Is that right? Is it 2017, 2018, or was it 2016?
I think it was 2018.
Yeah. So me being the black me that I am, Asia, she looking like, who are you? And I'm like, your cousin, your big cousin. She was like, call your grandma. And so right there in the store, she called her grandma. And when she called her grandma, what did your grandma say?
You talking about Jarvis, Pam's son Jarvis. Yeah, that's your cousin. You need to go back to you and see your family. Get to know your family.
Yeah. And so, it was literally just like that, because I'll never forget faces. I might forget a name every now and again, but I don't forget faces. So that was our reintroduction in like 2018. Well, then we kind of lost connection a little bit until I started taking sea moss and detox bitters and all of the lovely holistic things that we all should be taking. So without further ado, we're gonna plug her their godmom. So Earth Essentials, um, boss lady on Facebook. So we're gonna plug her because that's where I get all of my health needs. So sea moss and you know uh your burdock roots, any of your natural stuff,
Mhm.
we can make sure that you get connected. Okay. So that was the second time that we saw each other because I walked in and I'm just shopping, doing my big one, you know what I mean? And I look around the corner, I was like, that's my cousin. And she was like, that's my goddaughter. I'm like, what? So that was time number two. Well, then there was time number three. I was outside in the streets this time. So, and I was just at karaoke, so nothing major. So I'm at karaoke downtown Raleigh, and I see some familiar faces walk by. I'm like, that's my cousin. So yes, I walked outside, I swung it open. Cousin. cousin, and we've been reconnected ever since. Did I sum that up right?
Yes.
Okay. So we have been reconnected and connected and all of the things ever since. I see you, cousin. I'm looking at the chat, y'all. So with that being said, that actually brings us to the first topic that I wanted to kind of chat about, and that is connection. And I'll give you guys my way in, but I want to ask the guest first. So either one of you can go, or you can chime in. And so, with that being said, what is connection to you? What does connection mean to you? And again, I tell people all the time, I'm being vague on purpose because I like to create space. So, what does connection mean to you?
I'll let Candace go first.
Oh, you
Uh-oh.
can't hit the camera. So it looks like you gotta go.
What'd you say?
What'd you say, Candace?
Okay, there I go. I was trying to go between Facebook and because this is Safari. I don't know what I'm doing, y'all. So
No problem. You good?
what does connection mean to me? Um, I guess it kind of depends on what perspective we are talking about. Like, because I feel like there's emotional, physical, mental connections. Just being in tune with something or somebody.
Mhm.
Because you can be connected to people, but you can also be connected to things. So I guess it's just kind of whatever perspective you take from it, but just being in tune with something, having some type of tie, like a relationship, or I don't know. It's a lot of avenues you can take with that one.
Absolutely, absolutely. Yeah, no, I like it. I like exactly where you're going because trust me, I got some questions to kind of follow up with that. So yeah, I love that. Okay, what say you, Asia?
I agree. I think it's based on how you're looking at it because my connection with my sister might be different than my connection with my peers or my coworkers. I just think it's how you look at it, but mainly I would think connection is the way you interact. And yeah, I also interact.
Absolutely. Yeah, I would definitely agree with what both of you are saying. It's definitely based on the perspective in which you're the lens that you're kind of looking through. And I would definitely say that for me, if I had to answer that question, I would definitely say, again, like one of you said, it's the tie between something or someone. It is of course, we can go to the types of connection, like you guys said, but I think it's more or less the way that, because I mean, she is tagging. That's what I'm talking about. I think it's more or less the way that I'm trying to use other words other than connect. It's the way that one is bonded, so to speak, in terms of people, the way that you kind of bond with someone else. And I think oftentimes when it comes to like family or friends, you're expecting the bond to be the same exact way that one puts out, if that makes sense. So, in other words, the way that I might bond with someone else is expected that is reciprocated. And sometimes that's not necessarily the case. So I guess that will, lead into the types of bonds. And I think, there are, or the types of connections. So there's the superficial connection, right? And that, to me, the way I break that down, I'm talking about that connection where someone is looking to gain something out of it, right? Versus really genuinely trying to connect with you. And then I feel like there's the genuine connection where no matter what, I'm trying to really connect with you. I see something in you. I feel like we're kind of kindred spirits, so to speak, or, kind of one of those situations where no matter what, we locked in for life. Now, what do you guys think in terms of the definition that I just gave about superficial connection versus genuine connection?
I agree.
Same for you, Kenny?
I definitely agree.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Um, and so I would definitely say that I think I've had some situations where, I can honestly look back over my life and say that when it comes to like friendships, because we get to choose those, right? So when it comes to friendships and the connections that we have, in terms of that, I can honestly say I have friendships that have lasted 10 years plus. And to me, that's groundbreaking because this day and age, you got people that's always trying to stab you in the back.
Hmm.
They secretly jealous and envious of you, waiting and praying on your downfall, kind of thing. So that was kind of sort of the thought process when I came up with the topic about connection. Have you guys ever experienced any situation where, and we're not naming names unless you just want to, have you experienced a situation where you felt like, hey, you know what, this connection right here, it has met the end of its roads? And if so, what did that experience feel like? Again, you don't have to talk about the person, but more or less, what did that experience feel like when you say, you know what, nope, I cut this connection completely off?
You want to go? You want me to go?
Go ahead. Go ahead. I need to think.
um. So I kind of have two little situations. One, um, there was a girl that I was friends with. We became friends when I was going to school at UNC Charlotte. Um, and our friendship, for me, the terms of our friendship kind of changed.
Mhm.
We're still friends, very good friends, but I feel like the terms kind of changed because I felt like we reached a certain point where when we see each other, we speak and everything because we would normally, check in weekly or whatever,
Mhm.
especially after college, and we just moved to different cities. But I just started to realize that number one, you can't tell all your business. I'm learning to pick and choose who I tell stuff to and just be a little bit more intentional. But um,
Mhm.
it just felt like every conversation that we had where I was telling her something, that had happened or whatever, it was always her giving her opinion back. Sometimes I'm asking, you know, what should I do, or whatever. Or sometimes I just don't need you to say nothing. I just need you to just let me rant or get whatever it is off my chest, or just
Mhm.
be a listening ear.
Mhm.
But every time it was like she was very opinionated on my situations or whatever. Um,
Now,
and
really quickly, was she bringing anything to you or only absorbing what you were taking to her?
um, I feel like in certain situations it was a little bit of both,
Okay.
but even still, you know, just where I was, it was just like, okay, I didn't need you to be this type of friend. I needed you to be this type of friend.
Mhm.
Um, so I'm like, I also don't like feeling like, I'm telling you something in confidence and you're judging.
Okay. Okay.
So I'm like, great person. She's a great person. She's a great friend. But I just learned, certain things I'm not gonna go to you with. Now, am I saying I want a yes man type of friend? No, I don't want anybody to be like that in my life. But
Right.
um still know what type of relationship you have with people so you can know, how to navigate conversations and situations. Now, the other girl, we became friends freshman year of college. Um, and by junior year, we were no longer friends. No, junior year. Yes. Junior year, we were no longer friends. Now, I had transferred from USCC to ECU. So, of course, naturally, stop. I saw that. Go find it. Naturally, that was one of those things where it's just like, okay, we're at different schools now, we're in different cities now, something's gonna change. But it was just weird,
Mhm.
the entire friendship. And I feel like there has been red flags that I just ignored. I know I ignored some of them, but others, it was just like, okay, I'm gonna just sweep this one up under the rug. And then after I transferred, it was just like, okay, at this point, we really have no reason to continue to be friends because you're still being weird after all this time. And even afterwards, everybody was like, well, we was just, cool with her and speaking to her because that was your friend and you was bringing her around. So I'm like, wait, nobody's telling me she was weird. It's like, nah, your friend, you knew she was weird. So
Right.
just had to cut it off right
Okay.
there. But that's my little,
So thank you for sharing that. And for those of you that recently tuned in, so we're currently talking about connections and kind of knowing the particular one that we're talking about now, knowing when to kind of cut them off, and if you had to cut them off, what did that experience kind of feel like to you? Like, where were you in terms of headspace at that point? So that's what we're currently talking about. So what say you, Asia?
I was trying to think of two situations. So the first one, this is when I was living in Greensboro. It was a group of friends. We used to go out, party, hang out, or whatever. And I was talking to one of the top promoters in Greensboro. So it was like, yeah, I'm gonna go hang with her so we can get to the party for free. We won't have to pay for anything. And then when it came to the point where I began to feel away, because okay, it's okay when we hang out, when we do other stuff, you can't do it, you won't do it. It's always something sneaky going on. Then it's like,
Uh-huh.
oh, we don't like Asia, or we gonna do something to like flip the script. So
Mhm.
came to a point where I just had to just break ties with people. Another thing would be I went through like a tragic situation, and I have a group of friends that I am still friends with. We're very close, but some of them I notice when I need you, or when I go through something, you're not there. But when it's time for the party to turn up, you're there. And
Mhm.
it came to a point where it's like, okay, are we really friends, or are we just homegirls? Are we
Mhm.
really like, do we really have a bond where I can call you my friend? But if I can't call you when I need you, or and it's not that I need anything, but just, hey, I want to talk, I want to vent. You want to talk, you want to vent. We can go out to eat, go get yours. We can sit in the house and bake pizzas for all I care. But
Right.
if you're only around this time to turn up, then we're clearly not friends. We clearly don't have that connection that I thought we had. So,
Absolutely. So it definitely sounds like in that particular case, it was more like a superficial kind of connection. Like, hey, what can I benefit from? Well, actually, both of them, because you said the other one was, more or less connected because of you knowing the top promoter in that area and so forth and so on. So it sounded like some superficial connections that were happening in that particular case. Is that
mhm.
accurate? Okay.
Yes.
And so for those of you that are tuning in, with talking, come on, cuz Nikki said she agrees with you. Um, so in situations like that, I think it's extremely important to do exactly what the both of you did. Become aware of that and notice what type of energy is coming out from that situation, and knowing like, okay, at this point it has definitely reached its end. Like we can't really go from there, or I have to reshift and refocus on what that particular friendship, family, or whatever type of relationship that now looks like because of these situations. I would have to answer that and say that I too have had situations over the course of years where some people I've completely cut off. I call that period purging. I literally just will cut those people off. We're not about to hang out. We're not about to be on the phone frequently. That's my purging process. I realize that where I'm trying to go, you're either A, trying to downplay what I'm trying to do, or you're not really happy for what I'm trying to do. And I don't need nobody in my life that's trying to, be a succubus and drain all of my energy out, or having, turned it into a negative situation. But then I also had situations similar to what you said earlier, Candace, where I had to reshift and refocus the way that I viewed that particular friendship, right? So I didn't think that anything happened that was so bad that I had to, completely cut this person out of my life. But I do definitely feel like it was one of those situations where now I have to go and I said, okay, you know what? I think in terms of like a hierarchy, if you will. Like, where would I put this person at in terms of friendship? Like, are they going to be top priority or
Mm-hmm.
somewhere in between? Or were you reduced down to associate status? And so this person kind of fell somewhere in between the middle and associate status. And so that's pretty much where I have began to operate moving forward, because I do feel like, there's one scripture in the Bible that stands out to me to kind of go with this, and that is um he will prepare a table before you in the presence of your enemies. So I'm choosing to eat at the table with my enemy. The reason why I say it like that is because I can see what my enemy got going on. I can see, what I mean, how I need to move. I can see how I need to operate in that particular case. Whereas if I don't, and this person is conspiring over here on the outside, I can't see it. I don't know what's going on. Then, I might have something coming at me, a target coming at me, and I had no clue. Whereas here, I can observe what you got going on. And I know to most people, that's probably like, what? You would really do that? Yeah. Because I need to see you, see me, see we. That's just the way that I operate. Nakima came in and said, I'm about to demote some folk to associate staff. Listen, absolutely. Sometimes you got to do that. Like if you go and you notice that you're pouring out energy after energy after energy to strengthen your connection,
Mm-hmm.
but yet every time you're pouring something out, every time you're trying to do something, whether that's going trips, whether that's you got a business venture that you're thinking about, whether you got some future goals and things that you've been working on, and you think that, hey, this is my friend, so I can tell my friend my future goals that I'm working on, and all they got is negative energy. Yeah, go ahead and demote them to associate status, because they might not be, top tier friends. And that goes for some family members too. I have
Hello.
family members that are literally just that. We are connected by blood, and that is it. I love you. I would not, want anything to happen to you. I would never wish nothing bad on you. But as far as, again, you kind of being in that top hierarchy of my life, no, you're not there. You're not there. So you'll be somewhere in between that middle status and associate status. And again, I would not want anything to happen to any of them, but I 1000% know that there's no need for me to even fake the funk when it comes to it. And we can be cordial whenever we're in each other's presence. We can be cordial, but that's really the extent of that. What about y'all? Y'all got any family members that's kind of like that?
Yes. And it's no hard feelings. It's just sometimes sometimes you gotta step away where this family. I've come to understand you gotta do what's best for you and your mental. And
Mm-hmm.
if backing away from people helps you stay sane, then sometimes you just have to back away. There's no love lost. I don't dislike you.
Mm-hmm.
I want the best for you. I pray for you. But
Right.
we can't be in the same space with the negative energy.
Listen, you will not be a succubus in my life. Jessica came in and said, blood make you related, loyalty make you family. It took me 30 years to learn. Listen, you better preach. That's the word right there. Shonda, where my bell at? That's the bell.
And it's crazy because I'm in this class called Family Social Systems, and we talk about kind of like this. We just sit and we talk, and we had an assignment about family. And I was looking at the questions. I'm answering the questions. I'm like, okay, this person my family, but are they really family? Or are we just
Mm-hmm.
related? I look at it like that. Like we're I can have family and I have people that I'm related to,
Correct.
and that's how I look at it.
I agree. I agree with that 1,000% because we share family, and
Yeah.
so the sharing of family is just that we share the family, and that's the extent of that. Candace, I saw your gears grinding. What you got to say?
Me personally, I'm a firm believer in energy says a lot, even if you're not saying nothing at all. Like energy
Mm-hmm.
definitely says a lot, and I'm the type of person, if I know or if I can sense that your energy is off, or even if it's you just being in a bad mood or something, me personally, I don't want to be around that. So what
Yeah.
do? I go, they talk about me all the time. Ken, why you don't never know what's going on? I be in my own little world. Like in my world, the energy's great. I'm having a great time. I don't have to worry about all the extra if I don't want to. Like you have to know, like Asia said, you have to know when to step away from people, especially if you're the type of person who takes other people's feelings and emotions and all that on like to yourself. You gotta
Mm-hmm.
know, like you have to set that boundary within yourself. And it took me a long time to realize that. But like I'll go about and be by myself and be perfectly fine. There's nothing wrong. I just and to me it's a lot more quiet and not just like actual noise, just like mental noise. It's a
Mm-hmm.
lot more quiet when I'm by myself.
Mm-hmm.
So if I gotta walk away, and even if you feel some type of way, I'm sorry, I really don't care. Cause like, and nobody really knows what's going on inside your head, but you and God. So everybody else, y'all don't have to understand it.
Right.
That's fine too. But like, just know if you and the people that be offended, you gotta watch out for them too.
Correct.
So,
Correct.
but that's just me.
Correct. And you are 1,000% correct. Like for those of us that are in fact empaths where we can walk into a room, sometimes even you're talking on the phone and you can instantly pick up somebody's energy. If you go back and you think towards a time in your life where you woke up that day, you were in a great spirit, you was in a great mind space, great, head space, just great. And then you talk to this one person, whether it be over the phone or whether it be that coworker at work, and you like, you don't understand why I'm
But come
like
on,
what
me.
has now changed to create this bad day is because you are more than likely an empath and you are now starting to absorb those feelings, and you like Ken said, you got to learn how to create that boundary, and like Asia said as well, you got to know when to I'm a paraphrase, you got to know when to hold them and when to fold them, when you got to pull out of that particular situation because it's too much going on. Asia, you was about to say something.
It's when you said coworker. This is so bad because I have a coworker and it's like nothing her world ever goes right, and I really feel bad for her sometimes. And I'm like, you're blessed. You have your own house, your own car, everything paid off. You're of age and you're still here. There's people that's younger than me that's dying.
Gone.
And she just
Yep.
feel like her world is just the most horrible thing ever. Not just be
Right.
telling her, baby, you need to count your blessings. Because there's some people that they're not here that probably will want to be here. You are here and you think everything is just horrible.
Correct.
And people like that, and then it got to the point where I will separate myself from her. And
Mm-hmm.
she'll come find me, she'll come vent, she'll come talk, and I don't give her the feedback she wants. She's like, you must not like me. No, it's not that I don't like you. It's just every time I talk to you, it's nothing positive ever coming out. And that's
Exactly.
draining for
Exactly.
anybody to hear negative things every day, all day. At some point, you have to speak positive stuff into your life.
Absolutely.
So
Absolutely. So what say you audience members? There's no physical audience here, but we're talking about those of you virtual audience, that is. What say you? Like, what are your thoughts in terms of, being able to kind of be around those negative vibes, that negative energy, and knowing how to properly separate yourself, regardless of whether that person or those people feel any type of way or not. What say you? I'm gonna give you guys some time to kind of respond. And while you respond, I'm gonna read your comments whenever you put them in there. But otherwise, I'm gonna proceed. Is there any studio audience at either one of your locations that want to chime in? Studio audience?
Yes,
And you don't have,
he is
you
over
don't have,
here.
and you don't have to name yourself.
No, I can't do that.
Yeah, you don't have to put your
Just say
face up
what
in the studio audience.
just say what you need to say, honey, because you go ahead.
No, this is really good. I am enjoying this.
Thank you.
This is my mom, by the way, for the audience.
And you didn't have to
That
say
was the
that.
same.
Yeah, you didn't have to say that. But thank you. Thank you for that. Jessica came in and said, I learned it's okay to be alone and that doesn't make you lonely. Absolutely. Listen, like Candy said, sometimes being alone gives you that opportunity to kind of, think clearly, operate clearly, without having to have those outside noises, there to kind of, sway you one way or the other. Now I will say that sometimes I see your comment that came. I'm about to read in a second. I think sometimes it's good to have a healthy balance of that because sometimes you don't want to necessarily get into that space where you're only with your thoughts. What I mean by that is sometimes an idle mind is the devil's playground too. So then when you're sitting there and you only with your thoughts, that's when the devil trying to come in and attack and all of that too. So you got to be kind of mindful of that as well. But otherwise, listen, I'm a huge person on separate yourself because certain things you just won't get, certain energy you just simply won't get when it comes to me. Nakima came in and said, I used to complain all the time, had to learn to speak positive over my life. Listen, if you are not manifesting for yourself, then only imagine what those outside forces are doing.
Mm-hmm.
If you can't manifest for yourself, imagine what those outside forces are doing. And some of those were because of, all right. So if you get to a point where you know what, listen, now talk about the road has ended. We no longer want to deal with this no more. We just set the time. But then some years pass, some months pass, some time has passed. Is there a possibility of reconnecting with those that you may have closed the door on? Is that a possibility on that? And this could be friendship, this could be family, this could be a booth thing, this could be a job opportunity. Is it possible to reconnect once you have closed the door?
I'm gonna say yes, because there was a point in time where I swore out that I hated this person. I would never talk to this person again. And then I had to come to the conclusion, like, okay, I'm walking around with all this hate in my heart for what? And when I finally let go of the hate and forgave them,
Mm-hmm.
I felt like a whole new person. I said, well,
Mm-hmm.
Jesus, I've been walking around so angry all this time. I could have been just happy. So yeah, like I feel like I'm the type too. I can't hold a grudge. Even if I try, I cannot hold a grudge. I feel like you never know when something could drastically happen. That person may not be there at the moment. Even if you had a disagreement, I will never not love someone that I loved before. That it might not be a thing where we're kumbaya all the time and we are as close as we were. But if I love you, then I love you.
Right.
And you never know when someone's gonna be taking it. And I want to have this grudge on me that I could have let go and just forgave them. Because I feel like
Mm-hmm.
when you let go of stuff, you start to see like your maturity, you change. Like it's no point holding a grudge. You
Right.
holding a grudge and they living their life. So you sitting around mad for what? And then sometimes people be mad, you don't even know they're mad. So it's just
Correct.
kind of it takes too much energy to. So after a certain amount of time, I might be mad for a second, but I'll get over it.
Absolutely. And you hit it spot on. A lot of time people fail to realize that forgiveness is not for the other person. Forgiveness is for you. So you're forgiving whatever that person did to you, that situation, or whatever the case might be, because what forgiveness is literally the permission to move on from what that feeling felt like. or that person did to you. That's literally what forgiveness is. Permission to move on beyond that. And that don't mean that you got to now allow that person to come back in and serve in that same position that they may have prior to. Is like you just said, like you literally just forgave them so that therefore you're not in that same headspace that you were when they originally did whatever. That's literally all it is. What say you, Candace?
I was just thinking about like a different perspective when you were saying like job opportunities and stuff like that. Um, I feel like there's definitely a time and a season for everything. So just because it didn't work out in the past doesn't mean things can't happen and things can't change for it to work out for your favor in the future.
Mm-hmm.
So, um, I feel like you never know, and the Lord works in mysterious ways, and you know, it's a lot of stuff that you just have to talk to Him about, consult to Him. I feel like that's everything, not a lot of stuff, everything.
Yeah.
But you may not even understand why it didn't work out this time, or so I think it's possible. I think it is possible, but also too, um, if you know you have certain boundaries for certain things, you should also stand on that because you don't want to play in your own face, and you know, so
And then there's that. There's
yeah.
that. I would definitely agree with that. And while you were talking, I was thinking about what you just said as well. The previous company that I was working for, I was with them for 9 years, and I would never bash the company. I will say that I felt I felt that there was so much more that was out there for me to do, but because of the loyalty that I had to people that I connected with, their management that I was connected to there, that's what kind of helped me stay there. And then I had this number in my head. I had that I wanted to work for the company for 10 years. That was the number that I had in my head. But then I started thinking, like, wait a minute, you're giving blood, sweat, and tears to a company, and when it's time for you to ask for that raise, that living increase raise, because now we all know that we in inflation right now, right? And so when you're going and you're asking for that cost of living increase, and they're like, oh, you thought you was gonna get that, okay, try again later. And I'm like, so when I think about the benefits that I've gotten from this company, again, not bashing, just speaking my truth. I was like, wait a minute, I dare not give another year to this. I dare not give another couple of years, but I did the right thing. I gave them their 2 weeks because, of course, most of the time when you work for at will companies, they don't have to give you a reason to let you go, but they want you to give them the 2 weeks in which you're leaving. Okay, but that's neither here nor there. We won't go down that rabbit hole. But that was one thing that I kind of thought about. Well, then going back to what you said earlier, Asia, I would say reconnection in terms of, some of you know my story with my dad. Some of you don't. I'm 35. My dad did drugs for at least 33 years of my life. And so I literally was angry because, and I couldn't figure out why. I couldn't figure out. I had this void in my life, but I couldn't figure out what it was. It wasn't until I started going to school to get my master's in mental health counseling that I realized that, hey, you are angry and you have some displaced anger. What is the source of that displaced anger? And it was at that moment that I realized that it was because of the connection that I had, or the lack thereof, with my dad. So when I speak about the reconnection, fast forward to the passing of my mom, it was at that time that he stepped up to the plate to become my father. And what I mean by that is, it was at that time that he started calling me 2 to 3 times a week because he knew how close me and my mom was. So it kind of helped in that process. Of course, he would never, or anybody would never replace my mom, but it helped in that situation. And so now, fast forward to now becoming his caregiver, I can't lie to anybody and say that it's easy because it's not. It's extremely hard. But I had to get into that forgiveness space and say, hey, you know what? In order for me to reach my next point, I gotta forgive my dad because at the end of the day, I can look at it multiple ways. I can look at it as, hey, he's been on drugs for all these years, so that is now considered a disorder, a disease, or I can harbor the feelings that I had and continue to be mad. And so I chose the opposite. I say, you know what, I'm gonna forgive him and I'm just gonna create the space and say, hey, you know what? Am I willing to have this space with my dad? And so, that's what it is. So any people that are listening, if you have that person, parent, friend, family, whomever, if you have that space that you're kind of like you stuck in, you're harboring some kind of feeling for you, not for them, for you, forgive them. Forgive them. And I promise you, like Asia said earlier, it's going to be a weight lifted off your shoulders when you do that. Again, and it's not for them, it's for you. So keep that in mind. Something else that you said, Asia, as we get ready to transition to the next topic, life is short. When I used to hear my grandma say that when I was young, I'm like, this lady is see now. Because every year she would say this life is short. And I'm just sitting there like, well, what do you mean? Like you just keep saying this life is short, but what does that mean? Well, now I understand. I do want to take a quick second. I know some people may not necessarily be a fan, but I do want to take a quick moment, literally a quick moment of silence for Angie Stones, because you said exactly what you said. Life is short. No one was expecting, for her to have passed away. So for those of you that are watching, we're going to take a quick moment of silence for Angie Stone. Okay. The song popped in my head, but we won't go there tonight. But yeah, so life is in fact, short. And so that actually leads me into support systems and having that right support system around you. And I want to kind of give a little bit of context before we go into that because like pastors typically say, I won't be before you long. So with that being said, I want to kind of go into Leandria Johnson. There's a lot of people that are fans of hers, and then there's a lot of people that's really not. With that being said, I am a fan of hers, and recently, over the last month or so, she's gotten two DUIs. I'm sorry, one of them. I always get confused. One of the I's, the D, the W, and the I, the DUI. One. At either rate, she was drunk. Okay, that's the best way I can give it to you. She was drunk. She got a little bit of the spirits. And so me and my friend Sierra, she's probably gonna watch later on. We were talking about how when it comes to someone of that magnitude or have celebrity status, and now they get caught with public indecency, drinking, or whatever the case may be, whatever the scenario is, does it mean that they are less anointed because they have, been put in this situation or allowed themselves to get in this situation? And should they then be, kind of not allowed to minister to the people if that's what they're doing? All right. So that's one question. And then we're going to go into the support system and what that should and shouldn't look like. So what are your thoughts on that? Like a celebrity, they get a DUI, drinking, whatever the case may be, especially a gospel artist. Should they now not be able to continue to go out there and minister to the people?
I'm not going. I think the world puts more pressure on people than they have to. Like to me, some stuff just it's not that deep. And I'm not going to say you can't minister to people because let's just be honest. It could be a crackhead on the street that can tell you a word.
Amen.
Like, just be. I don't think it's good to be in the public's eye doing that. But I'm not going to say you're not talented, you're not gifted. I'm not going to say the Lord didn't send you to minister to somebody.
Mm-hmm.
Because I know someone who has made mistakes, but you can't take away his talent. I can't tell you the Lord and tell him that he's a prophet because I've been there, witnessed it.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So just because he does what he does doesn't mean that he's not gifted, and it doesn't mean he can't minister to people. Now, what he's doing may not be right, but that does take away the fact that he's anointed
Mm-hmm.
and the Lord is speaking through him.
Mm-hmm.
I
Mm-hmm.
mean, that's how I look at it.
Absolutely. What's going on, Dorcas? Thank you for putting your comment in the chat. Dorcas came in and said her circumstances doesn't mean that she lost her anointing. God can still use her. Absolutely. That was my viewpoint. That's the way that I was looking at it. And I was even saying to the point of I don't think that she should not be continuing to testify. Because I feel like she should still be able to testify and be able to, go to different arenas or whatever and give her story. Now, do I think that a healing process needs to transpire? Absolutely. But who are we, like you said, Asia, who are we to say that, we need to sit you down? I can't tell you that. Jessica came in and said they are human too. No sin outweighs the other. Absolutely. Candace, do you have anything to add to that? What's going on, Mark?
Kind of to piggyback off what Jessica said, um, I think when you're in the public eye, people assume that you're like this person that's supposed to be perfect because you're in the public's eye. And it's just like, you know, if you really pay attention, because I know a lot of these celebrities and big name people, they have like reality TV shows and stuff like that, giving you an insight kind of to their life. You can see that they cry and they go through stuff just like the rest of us. So, I mean, the when you're the public in the public eye and you have everybody else who are just living a normal life,
Mm-hmm.
it's just so easy to point fingers and put blame and try to condemn people and judge people, but in reality nobody's perfect. Like,
Correct.
nobody's perfect. um yeah, I have been told anybody can minister.
Amen to
So,
that.
you know, and her being caught and being charged with this stuff, that could have a deeper meaning than, oh, she's a gospel singer and she now has 2 DUIs.
Right.
Like, there could be a whole purpose that nobody's even thinking about, that nobody's even concerned about,
Mm-hmm.
as to why she has these charges and she's in the public eye and all this other stuff. So, I mean, what if
And
somebody came to you and was like, oh, I don't want to say, like, I don't know, some bogus situation, but somebody sitting there pointing out all your flaws and talking about all of the things that you did that weren't necessarily right, or that you can be judged for. Like, everybody just need to worry about themselves. It's just the fact that she is in the public eye that everybody just got so much to say about it, really and truthfully.
correct. That's correct. Jessica came back and said, for all we know, it's a part of her testimony. Listen, you better say that because again, we don't know what she's going through behind closed doors. We don't know what demons she's fighting, or in this case, what spirits she's fighting. We have no clue what that looks like. What I do know is that a couple of years back, she had a brother that either died all of a sudden or got killed. And so, when a lot of time when people go through things like that and you don't really have the opportunity to um, prepare for a person's transition, sometimes it's extremely hard to navigate that space, especially somebody that you think or view as, healthy, somebody, you know what I mean? Somebody that you, because I know when I was young, I used to think that younger people were less likely to pass, you know what I mean? But as I continue to get older, younger folks have passed, as well as old folks. It doesn't have an age on it. You know what I mean? It's not a specific number. Like, hey, well, by the time you turn 30, you may or may not be it. Like, it's not that anymore. It's literally, it could be babies. It could be, you know what I mean? And so back to this, I would definitely say that I think that some people idolize certain celebrities so that when they fall off of the pedestal that they were placed on, they have a longer fall to fall, if that makes sense.
And it's crazy because who asked you to place? And me and my friend was just having this conversation the other day because she was saying that some people place her on a pedestal. She didn't understand why. And I'm like, it's crazy to me how people like rank you. Like, what does it matter?
Right.
Everybody human. We all born the same way. We all die the same way. It
Yep.
don't really matter. And
Yep.
it's crazy we talking about this because one time I went out. I was in Charlotte. I went out to the club with my friends. I did have a few drinks, and I was determined to go see my aunt. My friend's like, "No, you've been drinking. You can't go. You can't go." I'm like, "No, I'm gonna go see my aunt." And like we were literally arguing. I'm like, "I don't care what's going on. I'm gonna go see my aunt." So then I get over there, and when I went in, there's like something heavy fell on me. So I'm like, "Okay, well, I'm gonna still go in." I was a little uncomfortable, and we started talking. And she went to go visit her friend, and we were talking, and I kept saying, "I don't mean no harm, but can I pray for you?" And this lady looking at me like, "Yeah, you can pray for me." So we start praying and I start crying, but mind you, I've been drinking. I've never felt this feeling before. This has never happened to me before either. So we and her both crying, and she's like, "Can I talk to you about something?" I'm like, "Yeah." And she was telling me like her story or whatever, and she asked me if I could pray for her granddaughter. The granddaughter was asleep, and I was like, "I don't want to lay hands on her because, like, I'm not anointed in the point to be laying my hands on people, but I would pray
Mm-hmm.
for the little girl."
Mm-hmm.
Long story short, I started praying for the little girl. The little girl woke up. And I'm like, something about this house is not right. Like, it's a dark spirit in here. Something about this house is not right. I go up, she's like, "Well, can you just anoint, like, go through the house?" I'm like, "Yeah, I can go through the house and pray." But in my head, I'm like, I've never done this. So I'm praying. I'm like, something happened in this bedroom. And she's like, "Yeah, my granddaughter got molested by her dad."
Oh man.
And I literally tried to go in the room, but my body would not let me go in the room. So I was praying over this house, and I'm like, "Y'all, it's a dark spirit in here. Something bad is going to happen if y'all don't clean this house out." 2 weeks later, somebody got shot in that same house, in that same room that I told them something was wrong.
Wow. Yeah,
And I'm
see,
like, I've,
you know, go ahead, I'm
mm-mm.
sorry.
No, it's like, it's crazy because I've never felt like I was anointed or, I'm just going to go see my aunt. Who knew that all that was going to transpire?
Right.
And I'm like, something in the house not right. And she was just like, "You're right." But like, it's like God could literally use anybody.
Absolutely.
So
Absolutely.
that was my point.
Absolutely. And you are absolutely correct. Yeah, you're absolutely correct. And that's why I say, when it comes to this situation, all we can see and all we know is what the report says. All we know is, just what we read on social media, but we have no clue. We're not there in her darkest hour. We're not there, when she's going through her trial or her tribulation. We're not there, for any of that. And so, to tell her or to say, no, she need to be sat down. Okay, I'm gonna say this, and I know there are some people that's gonna feel some type of way. So, my church folks, you may want to go ahead and leave now because I'm coming. Okay, I go to church. I love church. I love God. I love the connection that I have to the church. But if you're being honest, when people try to tell Leandra that she needs to sit down, or are you gonna go tell that preacher that he or she needs to sit down? because let's just say their congregates know them on an intimate setting. Should they go sit down? Or is it okay because it hasn't come out yet? I'm just saying. Oh, okay. Well, let's ask this question. Well, what about that preacher, apostle, evangelist, bishop, that had them some spirits that drink and don't mind. They don't have a shut off valve to when they're gonna stop drinking. Should they be sat down?
My mama always taught me right is right and wrong is wrong. No matter who you are, if you're wrong, you're wrong.
Right.
And I can't take up for you when you're wrong.
Correct. So I said that to say that, while I understand that in terms of Leandria, we don't want to promote the wrong thing, so to speak. But who are we to determine what's right or wrong? Who are we to say that she's not supposed to minister to somebody from where she's at? The current state in which she's at. Who's to say that she's not supposed to minister to somebody like that? We can't determine that. So I'm just simply saying, and again, I'm not talking bad about the church, y'all, because I love church. I'm not talking bad about the church, but I am simply saying that, when we say things, we have to be mindful of what it is. Because let's also talk about the fact that there's church hurt. I have been hurt in the church. I thought that I was gonna up and leave the church that I'm going to, if I'm being honest. I won't bring up, each of the scenarios that has transpired, but I will definitely say that I 1000% had gotten to a spot where I was like, you know what, I'm out. But it wasn't time. I was not told to leave there. I was not directed to leave there. So I said, okay, I dare not leave this situation, and God hasn't told me to leave there. Because obviously there's a reason for me to still be there. Even though I might not see it right now, but there's a reason for me to still be there. So Sierra and I also talked about the fact that it could have come off to the people that, hey, with everything that surrounds Leandria, they may feel like the church is upholding her. And so now it turns them away from the church. But I'm like, well, if it was going to turn you away from the church, and this is not coming from a judgmental standpoint, I'm just trying to rationalize this thing out. Could it be that maybe the person was halfway in and halfway out anyway? Could it be? Or could it not be? What are you guys' thoughts on that? And again, y'all can say, hey, we're gonna plead the fifth. That's cool too. I'm just curious because, like I said before, we don't know. We just simply don't know. We don't know. What do y'all think? What do y'all think? Virtual studio audience, as well as studio audience right there with Candace.
Let's hear it, girl.
Like Jarvis, I don't know. Like Jarvis just said, you don't know what he knows. Because that could be the case. They was already like, just give me one more reason. Say I won't and I won't. Just give me a reason, I'm out. Like, but to say, okay, so are you saying that her situation could have been the reason that people were leaving the church?
They wanted to go.
Or that her situation and her still being allowed to continue to minister at churches could be the reason why a lot of people are now starting to leave the church, because churches are allowing her to come in and continue to minister after
It's
the
sad to
church.
say people really are like that. They will leave it. Yes, I agree. People really are like that.
Mhm. And I didn't say that. Sierra and I, we were debating about that. I'm like, I get that. I understand that. But if I were the minister of the church, she's still going to be able to come because I know that that is going to be some that her coming and ministering could potentially be the breakthrough for somebody.
This
Yeah.
real life. This someone else's situation.
Mm-hmm.
People can relate to her.
Mm-hmm. She's very relatable and anointed. We can't
And it goes
deny
back
that.
to what Jarvis was saying. The same pastors or people that are condemning her are doing the same things. They're just doing it in the closet.
Yep. Yep.
This is true.
And so that was my stance on that, and again, I'm not here to I don't have a hell or heaven to put nobody in, you know what I mean? But I'm just saying, I think that sometimes people got to take a step back and be less judgmental and say, you know what, hey, if he can use me, then why can't he use someone else? If he can use, whomever, then who am I? Jessica came in and said, and worse, absolutely. There's a lot of things that people would rather go dig the hole themselves and jump in before you find out what they've done. Let's just call it the truth.
And what's that saying? When you have one finger pointed at somebody else, you got three more pointing back at you.
Oh, four.
The thumb
Yeah.
don't count, Jarvis.
Well, the thumb don't count. So three, at least three. At least three is point back at you. But yeah, you know what I mean? Absolutely. And I
It's
think,
crazy because people are so quick and easy to judge somebody else, but when it's them, they try to hide it. Why are you hiding it? It won't
yeah,
a secret when you was talking about the next person.
yeah, yeah. Jessica came in and said, I thought it was always funny how um, church folks, we're so judgmental. Listen, we as a people, absolutely. And the church folk, and I can honestly sit here and say, me being a church folk, there's definitely been situations where I prejudged. I'm not gonna sit here and lie to nobody because again, I could have been the deterrent factor. I could have deterred somebody, you know what I mean, from wanting to do or give their life to Christ or whatever. You know what I mean? And so it is for that reason, especially that I had my church hurt, that I had to realize, like, listen, you know what I mean? Like, who am I? I can't do that to people. You know what I mean?
And I feel like, because I've seen like on social media where you have pastors or leaders of the church or whoever calling people out for the stuff that they've done.
Yep.
And it's just like, really and truthfully, as the leader of a church, I personally don't feel like it is your job to call somebody else publicly on what they're doing. Um, Help them in the ways that you're supposed to,
Correct.
being that you are the leader of the church. But I don't think it's right to gather up the congregation to point fingers at somebody.
Correct.
Like,
Correct.
you know, because like Jarvis just said, we don't have no heaven and hell to put nobody in.
Not at all.
And judging is also a sin. So,
Then there's that.
like, you, and if anything, reach out to the who can help her. Do we have any connections?
Right.
Like, you're not bringing the congregation together to help somebody who is anointed, and stuff. Like, you're not calling people to say, hey, let's get this person some help. You're calling them to say, hey, this is my church, I'm not going for that here, and I'm gonna make an example out of you. That's not right.
And exactly what you just said, the I statement. It should not be that. It should not be, this isn't right, I'm calling this out, I want to talk. No, because we supposed to be here helping lead people to the way of God, not our way, but God's way.
Right.
And if that's what we're doing, then we're in the wrong spot in the first place. Just be honest. When you said that, the first thing that popped in my head was about 2 months ago, where that man, that older man, I'm going to just say elder pastor, he called that young lady in front of the church, and she had to tell the congregation that she was pregnant. Why? Do you not know how many mothers in the church that were pregnant out of wedlock? We can't judge nobody.
Right.
God is a forgiving God. God grants us new graces and mercies each and every day. So who are we to say, hey, put this person on a stage and ridicule them, make them feel some type of way, or in Leandria's case, don't allow her to continue to minister to the people because she's relatable, people can connect with her, and she's anointed. Okay, I'll leave that alone. I'm going no further on that. The last part of that was I was going to talk about the support system. Do we feel that she has the appropriate support system around her, or does she? Ooh, English teachers, gonna get me. Does she have the appropriate support system, or is she surrounded by enablers? There we go. That's a better way to put that. Does Leandria have the appropriate support system, or is she surrounded by enablers? Given, and we're talking specifically off the fact that over the past 2 months or so, she's gotten 2 DUIs. So we're not even talking about anything, outside that. We're just talking about the DUIs.
I honestly haven't even followed her story to know whether she does or not.
Mm-hmm.
I will hope that she has white people around her to help guide her in the right direction, but I haven't read about it to know for sure.
Okay.
I was thinking the same thing, but going back to what Asia said, right is right and wrong is wrong. There's a such thing as letting somebody know, which I'm sure she knows, that she made a mistake.
Mm-hmm.
But, also having people in your circle to say, hey, friend, like, we got to do something. We got to approach this a different way. We got to do something differently.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not going to sit here and judge you.
Right.
But, this is not okay. And we have to do, because I've had a situation where I had to sit a friend down and say, hey, like, I'm not judging you, but you know what you're doing is wrong.
Mm-hmm.
And we gotta do something differently.
Absolutely.
So I don't know who's in her circle, who's enabling her, or just even just trying to coddle her and not saying, hey, you have a platform, you got people to look up to you, not just, oh, it's gonna be okay, it'll pass.
Mm-hmm.
So I mean, I'm not sure, but yeah, I'm hoping that she got somebody that's saying, hey, what's the game plan?
Right.
So
Right. And I would definitely agree with both of you in saying that and I think one of you said it earlier, I can't remember which one of you said it, but one of you said earlier that and maybe this was over the weekend, where you cannot, I don't want nobody around me that's just gonna agree with me, that's gonna be a yes person for me just because of it's funny or I'm funny or I'm a good time. I don't want nobody that's gonna be around me just agreeing with me just to be agreeing with me. If I've done something wrong or if I've wronged somebody and I'm not knowing it or whatever the case may be, I want somebody that's literally gonna tell me, listen, I want to, like pull you to the side and tell you what's right and what's wrong, or hey, you was wrong in that situation. I would definitely say that, I got some cousins that's on the live now where I see them popping in, as well as the auntie, hey, Aunt Jean, on the live that will tell me, hey, Jarvis, you may have handled this situation wrong. And I do the same for them. You know what I mean? And I think that that's what we need in terms of a support system, because we have to think in terms of, listen, in order for us to get to wherever it is that we're trying to get to, in order for us to do whatever it is that we're trying to do appropriately, we need to have that appropriate support system. And that was the reason, that was the premise of that question pertaining to her, because again, the first one, of course, we can think like, hey, maybe that was an accident, maybe, whatever the case may be, she might have, had a little too much fun, when she was out or whatever, because there's nowhere in the Bible that says you can't drink. But what it does say is, and I'm paraphrasing here, so for y'all Bible thumpers out there, don't come for me. Okay, don't come for me up in these streets. But I'm paraphrasing. Basically, you can drink, but sin not. Kind of like, that's my paraphrase. Again, I'm paraphrasing. So you can drink, but you don't sin. Like, know your limit, kind of thing. In moderation. Drink in moderation. You understand what I'm saying? And so maybe she didn't know where her limit was for the night. I don't know. But again, we're talking about enabling here versus kind of cutting the person off. Like, I can honestly say that just on the screen alone, we don't cut each other off in a situation like, hey, you might have carried that situation a little bit too far, or hey, you might be drinking a little bit too much. Whatever. I feel like we all have that connection that we're gonna talk to the other person, one or the other, and be like, hey, you're doing a little too much. You approach that situation wrong. Am I right? Am I wrong?
You're right.
And if you don't have those type of people in your corner, then you gotta kind of look like, okay, you know what? Is this what I need?
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Because as my mama used to say, trouble is easy to get into,
Hard to
hard
get
to
out
get out.
of.
You know what I mean? And I'm not trying, at my big 35-year-old age, I am not trying to get into a situation where I can't get out of. So that was kind of sort of where that question was going. So for those of you that are tuned in, I thank you all for rolling with us. Are there any closing remarks from either you, Asia, Candace, or Studio?
I just thank you for inviting us to come talk to you.
Yes,
We
yes,
love
yes.
you.
Yes, yes, yes. Love you is back. And at end of the heart. It's kind of sort of heart. Yeah, it is. Go Pirates.
Arr.
So yeah, so as always, I definitely, everyone that tunes in know that I always make sure I leave out with some mental health tips. So if you're going through something, if you are, experiencing alcoholism, drug abuse, any of that, or you just simply, in a space where you are having a difficult time right now in terms of mental health, we are here. There's someone that's here. We can direct you to wherever it is that you need to go. You can reach out to me individually. I do have a master's in mental health counseling. I'm not licensed yet, so I want to make sure I say that. I'm not licensed yet, but I am, in fact, a life coach. So I can definitely point you in the right direction if there is something in which you need assistance with. Take the time that you need for yourself. Block out that outside, those outside noises, and focus on what it is that you need to do, because again, you and God are the only ones that can navigate your situation. So definitely please keep that in mind. And like I always tell you guys, we will be back in 2 weeks. So not next Tuesday, but the Tuesday after that. Okay. But you can also catch me on Hey Cousin Podcast, where I am co-hosting with Cousin Don. So you can catch me there. So the way that it's going to work out, you should be seeing me in the coming weeks, still every week, but twice on Hey Cousin and twice on Checking In with Pam LLC. Do you guys want to give your handles? Do you want people to follow you? Reach out to you.
Sure.
Give your handles, cousin.
My Facebook is Ta'Asia Whitley, and then on social media is Ambitious Asia. I think it's
Okay.
ambitious __ Asia.
Okay, and we're gonna make sure we put that in the chat, y'all. We're gonna
Oh,
make sure we pin it to the chat. I'm gonna figure out how to pin it. So I'm gonna put it in there and then I'm gonna pin it somehow.
okay.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yes,
All
Lord.
right. Yes. Social media handles.
Me?
Hmm.
Sure. I'm going to drop my TikTok
Okay.
and Facebook and Instagram. I started doing this little natural hair care
Okay.
videos on TikTok. I haven't been as consistent because I was in school and working and everything, but I just came up with a few ideas that I may be dropping in the near future.
Okay. So a link
So,
tree is coming soon.
mhm.
Okay. All right. So these are my little cousins, y'all. So if you want to connect, you can reach out to me. I will definitely help you. Okay, come on through. All right, I see you. Put it in there. All right, cool. I'm gonna try to figure out how to pin it. If not, I'll just combine it into one for both of you and then kind of go from there. So yeah. So again, we will be black. Checking in with him, LC will be black in 2 Tuesdays from now. Okay. And I always say that because again, it's about black and brown mental health. Mental health in general, but definitely black and brown mental health, especially in the climate in which we're living in now. All right. I'm gonna say peace to everybody. Y'all stay on because we getting to go, behind the scenes, but about to end live. So peace, love y'all. Thank y'all for tuning in, checking in with Family LLC. Peace.